G'day friends, Elise Howe here, and this video today is really all about just diving a little bit deeper on why my husband and I have just decided in 2020 that we are going to attempt to create a more sustainable lifestyle and to reduce our family's footprint. So as this is the first video too, I want to give you a little bit of info about me, maybe a bit about my husband and like what makes us us and why we really care about this as well and why now. But for a more extensive background video, I will do another one. I have quite an extensive just health and life history that I think will help to kind of make sense of all of this. I'm one of those people who love to know the history of something and love to know what actually got a person to where they are today. So welcome. This is the first official vlog that I am filming for the Some Way Somehow channel. And if you're completely new to me, we're gonna be just documenting and keeping ourselves accountable on this journey to a more sustainable lifestyle and reducing our family's footprint, because it's just really become apparent to us that our governments really aren't doing anything. If it's a little bit further in the future when you're seeing this, Australia is going through some really scary stuff at the moment in terms of the fires and just our government's just not doing enough. And I think a lot of people are becoming really conscious in 2020 of the fact that it's not just the fires and the climate change, it's our agriculture, it's our food industries. There's just a lot of problems, not just in Australia, but globally. And I think we're all really slowly beginning to wake up to that. So I'm not so naive to think that there's not obviously other influencers out there talking about this, but I really wanted to create this channel to keep us accountable and to just share what we find. Because the other thing as well is I'm just not really finding a hell of a lot of stuff that's relevant to Australia in terms of products and procedures, I guess, in a way. And I really am on the hunt for that, and also want to help be a part of that movement that can help shape this change. I really do give a big crap about it. So a little bit about me. I'm 30 this year, massive milestone. I have a really just a shocking history with chronic health conditions, severe allergies to dairy and gluten. And one of the biggest things that hit my husband and I kind of over the Christmas holidays, we were just hearing so much in the media about climate change because of the fires. We were hearing a lot about, because obviously we're going through a drought too. We've been hearing about all of the farmers, and as sad as it is, you know, you can't help but hear about our farmers losing their livelihood, and then that conversation coming up about how much water is used for that. We've got the Adani mine in northern Queensland that our government is pretty much just giving all our water to. There's a lot of issues. And another big one as well is this recycling problem that we have globally. And it is on a micro level, but it is on a macro level as well, right? So the biggest one I can think of is that Indonesia sent back, like, I don't know, don't quote me on the numbers, I'm gonna have to get better at the numbers and the stats for these videos, but it was like hundreds of thousands of tons worth of recycling, right, that I believe was still soiled, and they just don't have the room for it, right? And that's the other problem, is I think there's a lack of education around, you know, the different types of recyclable materials that we have, and how clean they have to be, and the sort of process that, you know, recycling actually, you know, goes through based off of the actual type of plastic and recyclable plastic that something is. And so there's so much information. It's an absolute wormhole when you get into it. And so I want to try to create these videos that kind of break it down into bite-sized chunks so that it's a little bit more digestible, and that maybe, just maybe, it might, teach you something that maybe makes a difference or pulls at your heartstrings enough to make you care about maybe, just maybe, considering making some small change to your life that actually has a huge, great impact. And here's the thing, these videos are obviously recorded, they'll be going on YouTube, and people will be able to find them for years to come. And my kind of thought process in it is that, being that YouTube's a search engine, online business owner over here, you guys are going to be searching for videos like this based off of these topics. So you want this information, or at least, something related to this. And, maybe it'll be a bit kismet that you come across my channel and watch one of my videos whereby you learn something that really changes you. And so, yeah, that's what it's all about. So to peel it back, I'm Elise, I'm 30 this year, I have a lot of chronic health conditions. My first baby girl, Luna, was born back in June of 2019, so it's currently January 2020, so she's 7 months old. I had a shocking pregnancy. I also had probably a birth that I really did not think was going to happen, but looking back, there are so many things I would change, and I suffered quite an injury during birth that actually resulted in a 5-day postpartum emergency, and it wound up meaning that my milk never came in and my baby was starving. And then we soon found out that, like the rest of her family, our baby girl has a dairy intolerance. And so that has just made us embark on such a massive journey. And I think in my grief, in all of that, in not having the birth that I hoped for, in not being able to breastfeed, in what else? Just this first time motherhood gig is so eye-opening that I just want to do better for my baby. I think a lot of mums can relate to that. And my husband's the same, he feels a lot of pressure to be a good dad. And we have both just come to this conclusion that new year, new decade, we as the little people, we as just your average everyday Aussies can make a difference on our micro level to global issues. And by sharing that, by staying accountable, hopefully enough individuals, maybe like-minded, conscious parents like us who are waking up to this stuff, who might explore this because of, a shared chronic illness that you might have, that I have. So, maybe it will just, help you to form some ideas and to try some things out and to see if it works for you and your family too. And that's really why we're doing this. So the chronic health conditions I have is Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, and I have chronic fatigue, which is part of the Hashimoto's, a number of food allergies, so gluten and dairy, caffeine, intolerance, but it's quite severe, crazy adrenal levels, lost such a significant amount of blood during birth that's created an iron deficiency for me. So it's a lot of fun over here. And now that we know that my baby girl has probably followed family's footsteps and has allergies too, we've just decided that we're just going to start with food. So food to me, after everything that I have researched over the years, really it makes up our life force, and our life source in a way, in that it fuels us. And being that we're all individuals with different DNA, genetics, biology, different foods and different ingredients in foods and different processes obviously affect the food that we eat. And for people with chronic health conditions such as myself, certain foods are going to create more inflammation in the body. And as from what I've learned, again, not a doctor, just sharing what I know, inflammation can obviously flare up diseases and chronic conditions, and just generally make life hell for those of us who have some kind of chronic health condition. So my husband and I are really going to be tackling the food thing, and it was probably the major thing, aside from everything happening with the fires and climate change and drought and really the recycling stuff, scary recycling stuff that we were hearing. It just kind of brought it all back home that we need to make some serious changes with the way that we purchase, the way that we prepare and cook our food, and what we're actually consuming, right? So this might not come as a surprise to many people, but we watched The Game Changers on Netflix, and to say it was a game changer is a total understatement. I've been saying for probably a couple years now that I've wanted to go more plant-based, but my husband has, found it really, really hard, the prospect of giving up meat. And I don't really eat red meat because I seem to not be able to digest it. So yeah, Game Changers really was a game changer because that's what got the hubby on board. And then it just kind of exploded from there. I've always been a researcher. I'm always looking for things that can obviously help me with my chronic health. Anything that's going to make me feel better, I'm pretty much willing to give a try. And so that might make me a little bit left of field, because I have tried so many things and I believe in a lot of different things, from the physical aspect with food, exercise, even down to spirituality and mindset. I think it all really, really can make a massive, massive difference. So to kind of tie it all up for you in a nice little bow, we just want to try things out, see what makes us feel good, and also not just feel good, but we know that makes a huge difference to our health, and that is also really good for the earth. And it sounds kind of hippie, but having had a baby now, it just makes us so much more conscious of how we treat ourselves and what we want to pass on to our daughter. So that's really the big why, and a bit of my background. And yeah, so I hope that gives you a little bit more of an insight as to why we are attempting to start a journey of sustainable living and to reduce our family's carbon footprint. So it's all around health, it's all around just doing our thing on the micro level to help the world. And hopefully in sharing this process, enough other people will be able to take away some tips and realize it's not so hard. We're nearly a month in, and it's actually been a lot easier than what I thought it would be. But as I mentioned, I have my own business, another business online as well, and it can be hard to stay accountable when stuff's getting really crazy there. Obviously, my husband works really full time, and yeah, I've got my baby girl at home with me. She's just started daycare at Montessori 2 days a week, and yeah, we're just really trying to work out and define what conscious parenting means to us, and just what good making these changes and creating more sustainable lifestyle is actually going to do for us, and not just us in the way that we feel, but also for the environment. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.